First question for Draymond comes from Kareth Burke, NBC Sports.
Draymond, how are you reflecting on this season and its successes and struggles?
Well, definitely had a lot of struggles. Just trying to build with such a young new team. Had quite a few rough patches there along the way. But over the last 20 games or so, we started to figure it out and grow, and a lot of successes came from that. Steph Curry being in the MVP conversation. Myself being in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. Jordan Poole solidifying himself in this league. Played 38 minutes tonight, and in an extremely important game. Juan Toscano Anderson signing a contract to get more money this year, but to also be here next year as we continue to try to build this thing back. Andrew Wiggins, solidified himself on both sides of the ball. When the games has mattered most, he's shown up. And that, I think that was always one of the knocks on him. Everybody would say, oh, he averaged 20 points, but what does it mean in the end? He's shown up when it's mattered most. And I can continue to go down the list. But the reality is we came up a little short. And so there's no moral victories here. We're still champions, and that's always the goal. So I'm not going to sit here and act like this year was some huge success because we didn't win it. And, that's always the goal. I think there were a lot of things that came out of this year that, we can definitely appreciate and continue to try to build up on. But, the reality is one team at the end of the year will have had a successful year, by any means necessary. And that's whoever, goes home as champion. So a lot of successes came out of this year, but ultimately we didn't win it. And we got, go back to the drawing board and try to figure this thing out.
How did this season add another layer to the bond that you and Steph have?
It definitely adds a lot, to grow with the new guys is one thing. It's incredible. It's great. To grow with Steph through all the troubles of growing with the young guys was special. There were, I'm not going to sit here and lie. There were fucking nights we're sitting there scratching our head looking at each other like, what the hell is going on and how are we supposed to figure this out? We just continued to fight and claw. I think what I saw from Steph and the way he grew, not only as a player, but as a leader this year, was incredible. At times where, it felt like this team wanted to quit, when it felt like there was no hope. That guy just kept going at it and kept going at it and kept going at it. His work that he was putting in didn't waver at all. His confidence that he took the floor with didn't waver at all, no matter what the situation was. And as someone who's played with him for 9 years now, that was the most impressive thing I've ever seen from him. I know the year was incredible. The shots were incredible. The scoring, all the things that he did was incredible. But what I took away from this year is how he grew as a leader. He stood out in front of us and gave us all someone to follow. And that was the coaching staff. That was everyone. He gave all of us someone to follow. And it was incredible to follow him. And because of that, we're right here. We had a chance. We had 2 cracks at it. We failed, but we gave ourselves a chance. And at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for. And a lot of that is due to the way he led this group. It was really special to be a part of this group and follow him. It was great. And I enjoyed that. And in that, our bond definitely grew way stronger. And, we got a lot more hell to cause, a lot. So looking forward to it.
Next question is from Anthony Slater.
Yeah, Draymond, I don't know the next time we're going to get the chance to talk to you. Do you have any thoughts on what maybe roster reconstruction tweaks are needed this summer, and how involved do you expect to be in those conversations?
I expect to be extremely involved. It's just the way it's got to be. I definitely expect to be extremely involved. As you know, you have to dive in. This, like I said, this was looking back on this year, I think there were a lot of successes that came out of this year, but we did not win a championship. So you have to go back to the drawing board and try to figure it out. And that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm looking forward to it. I think there are some things that need to be discussed between myself, Steph, Clay, coach staff, front office. Like this has always been a group thing. We've always done it all together, and this summer it's extremely important that we do sit down, go back to the drawing board as one. If we're going to get back to where it is that we want to go, those conversations has to be had, and I'm looking forward to having them.
Wes Goldberg, Bay Area News Group.
Draymond, kind of piggybacking on that, how close do you think you guys are to getting to where you want to be?
We're not in the playoffs, so we're a ways away. I may go to Mexico tomorrow or something, but that's not to a gym. That's not to an arena. That's not flying to Utah. So we got a ways to go because we're not in the playoffs. So we're far away because in order to win a championship, you gotta be in the playoffs. So we're clearly a ways away. A few tweaks here and there, and we're not that far. But right now, we're a ways away because we're not in the playoffs.
Next question is from Marcus Thompson.
Draymond, you played 43 games last year, many of them as the only vet. And now you put in most of this year. How do you feel after a season like this? How does your game feel? And obviously next year you're going to be central to this championship you're talking about. Just can you talk about how you feel and how the season has been for you?
The season has had its highs and it's had its lows. I think ultimately ending on a pretty decent note. But a lot that I can improve on, and I'm looking forward to that. I think, kind of, re-putting myself in the category that I belong in this league. Being dominant. After last year, there were a lot of questions about myself and like, do I still got it in the tank? And all of this shit that, all of y'all were saying and everyone else was saying. Like, oh, I don't know if he got it in the tank no more. Like, I'm 31 years old, dude. I'm not 39, but, I understand it because I did have an awful year last year and we had a shitty year. I didn't even know I played in that many games, by the way. Maybe mentally I wasn't there that many games, but I didn't think I played in 43 games. But like I said, in saying that, I think ultimately ending on a high note and really looking forward, to next year and continuing to build. I came into this season with goals of being an all-star again, and some unforeseen things happen. To start the year that kind of set me back. But what I proved to myself, moving forward and actually getting my conditioning back to where it was coming into the season and kind of getting my feel and my flow and my rhythm and my confidence back to where it was coming in. I think if what I proved to myself is that, I can do that again. I can go be an all-star again. I can fuck every team's offense up again. I can completely manipulate some other teams' defenses, and I think if anything, I proved that to myself. And I think that's the most important thing for me. Is always proving to myself, because I know if I can prove something to me, proving it to anybody else is easy. And so overall, I'm happy with where I'm at. And I think look out to where I'm going. It'll be good.
Monty Poole, NBC Sports.
Draymond, you guys had, like you mentioned this earlier, so many guys coming in and out of the lineup. You had injuries here and there, rotation changes here and there. The last 6 weeks, though, you guys wrote an 8-man rotation and wrote it hard. Do you think at the end that some of that caught up with you guys in the last couple of games? Because it looked like at times, and Steve mentioned this, he thought there might have been some fatigue going on, but just what did it mean to you to go these last 6 weeks with an 8-man rotation and grind it out?
Super proud of the group for, actually grinding through that, because it was tough. As we know, the schedule wasn't easy, with the travel and all the COVID testing, getting up early in the morning, testing late at night. There was times where we tested 3 times a day. And this wasn't like, a 5-hour period. This was 8 to 9 a.m., 5 to 6 p.m., and 10 to 11 p.m. Like, there were a period of the season where we did that daily, and so the mental fatigue, that added up as well as the physical fatigue. Did it play a role down the stretch? I'm never one to make excuses, but absolutely. I know I was fucking exhausted this whole game. But you just try to gut through it. And by the way, I know Memphis is exhausted. They've been flying back and forth from here to there while having just as crazy, if not as crazy, schedule, and obviously all the COVID stuff. And so the reality is both teams were fatigued, in my opinion. And they made the necessary plays down the stretch to win the game. But there was, that's just the reality. There was definitely some fatigue. But I think, when you get to this point in the season, just about everyone is fatigued. If you're one of those top teams that you had the luxury of resting your guys, then you kind of can catch another win. But when you're grinding to get in every game, every game matters. It's a different beast.
All right. Thank you, Draymond. Andrew Wiggins will be up next.